Hey guys, welcome to Seawall Classes, and today we're talking about the XT2 again, the Fuji XT2. I don't want to make this only about the Fuji XT2, but this is what has been happening with me for the last month and a half, going on 2 months right now. The XT2 is an amazing camera. I got the bottom grip, which gives me an extended battery life. I get about 1,000 shots coming from maybe about 400 shots, or I would say 300 shots. I could pretty much run the camera all day. But over the last couple of days, I actually had some time here in New York to shoot with the XT2 in and around Manhattan during the time of a thunderstorm, and the camera performed phenomenally. I mean, I have a lens that's not weather sealed, so what I had to do was cover the lens with my hand while I'm moving from location to location, finding different underpasses I can go underneath to catch some shield from the rain. But the camera did well. I got a lot of black and white shots, which I'm going to be putting up here in the video as I'm talking. So I just want to talk about that real quick, and mainly shooting from the hip, because if you're going to shoot people on the streets, you're either doing one or three things. You're asking people, "Can I take your picture?" You're taking a picture and moving before they even see you, or you're shooting very inconspicuously. So there were times I was shooting from my hip, literally, like really low on the camera, tilting the camera up, actually using my flip screen from time to time. This is during a rainstorm, and I was able to get picture after picture after picture. There was a couple of times where I just kind of pointed the camera in a general direction, and I didn't have my wide focus tracking on. I just had the center focus on. The camera missed a few shots, but for the most part, I would say I got about 70% of my shots, and that's without really using the focus system to its full potential. And to me, that's amazing. And you could just take a couple look at some of these pictures here. Some of them I was just inspired at the moment. Someone was just walking in front of me. Someone was just walking across my path, and I just picked the camera up, and within seconds I got the picture. So I think that was amazing. Something I want to talk about today, though, is pretty interesting, is actually mobile editing. Being able to have your phone in your pocket and your Fuji camera, or any mirrorless camera in this day and age that has Wi-Fi. I believe even some of the new Canons have it too. But being able to send that picture from your phone or from the camera to the phone, and then bringing up the program that you need in order to get this done. And I'm talking about Snapseed here. Snapseed is made by Google. They've been around for a number of years. I had them before on some of my older phones, but now this newer model, this new version has come out, which is a total different overhaul, because I had actually uninstalled the program because it worked. I just spent too much time poking around with my pictures and not enough time shooting, so I just kind of took it off the phone. But now this one is really streamlined. It's really straightforward. You bring your pictures in, you choose which editing option you want, you slide your hand, you press and you hold, and you slide your finger up and down, and it actually changes the different adjustments that you can do. And then once you've done it, you can slide your hand, I believe it's to the right or to the left, to increase on the right hand side or to decrease on the left hand side. And it's pretty amazing. Oh, and by the way, today guys, I'm using, in this particular video, I'm doing a different lighting setup. I'll try my best to get some shots here, add them into the video. But I'm using the Aputure 120D. I'm calling this the name of the product out because I really believe this company is doing a lot for the people who are up and coming in video and photography. Now, they're not super cheap. They have some cheaper models like the Amaran, and there's some like on-camera lights and really portable lights. There's even one that looks like about the size of a credit card. But primarily, as you can see, this video is a bit softer and a bit more sharper, because I'm using soft light and I'm using a large light source, and so it's cast in a very small. The shadows are falling away, and the shadow that's on this that's on this side is actually because there's no light on this side either. But one light, if I had it in the center, would light me up pretty well. But right now it's just to the right hand side of me and left hand side of the camera. So I wanted to point that out real quick because I believe that's important, and we're gonna see more of the Fuji colors, because the 120D, it's a daylight balance light. And it actually creates very accurate lighting from its source. Most of these, it's an LED light. Most of these LED lights oftentimes have a cast. They have like a green tint to their to the look of the light, the temperature of the light, and so that's not cool because you want people to look natural. So looking at this with the XT2, which is what I'm shooting with here, you're going to be able to see some really accurate colors. So going right back to the editing experience, I would say it's phenomenal. In a situation like just a couple days ago, or yesterday, I was actually shooting some pictures of some guys, which you guys can see right here. And this is at the barbershop, and these guys got the pictures within 15 minutes. So it doesn't necessarily speak as to how gifted or skilled I am as a photographer or as a filmmaker, because unfortunately they don't have the ability for you to send videos. But it does say that, it does tell me that I don't have to go home later and have to play with those pictures. I can just do a couple of color adjustments or a couple of film looks if that's what I want, send it to the client or send it to the person, and I'm done. I don't have to think about it after that. It's pretty much done. So it doesn't just it doesn't give me more time, but it also eliminates the need to think about future projects that are oftentimes done as, you know, just you're really trying to give back to people. You're really trying to share your gifts with people. Many of the things we do sometimes are free, and you don't have to think about those free jobs that you've done. You can focus on the jobs that you're being paid for and get them out of the way. So I would recommend Snapseed. There's a couple other apps as well. I'll link to them in the description. But Snapseed, for a free application, it has so many options. Contrast, it has sharpness, it has curves, which is huge, because that's one thing I didn't like about the phone, is that I could do a lot of levels, I could do a lot of contrast, I could do a lot of brightness and exposure, but I couldn't dial in the curves. And real briefly, why curves are important. Think of an image typically as this. So if this represents an image, my hand right here, being as flat as it is, my finger, this image has no variation. It's like a black image, or an image that's totally white. An image that's kind of peeking towards the right hand side of your screen, that's an image with a lot of highlights. And this is, I'm talking more about levels here. And an image peeking on the left hand side of the screen is more focused on the lows. So in levels, in curves, you have a line that's going diagonal. And so at the top of the line you have your brightness. And so if someone's face is really the focus of the picture, like in my situation with me, I'm the brightest object in this video that you're looking at, and behind me is a bit darker. Not as dark as I would like, but it's a bit darker. And so if I wanted to brighten my face, then I would focus on the bright areas, which is at the top of the curve, and I would probably lower the lower areas or the midtones, so the background will be a bit darker. And some of my skin will be affected too, but primarily the mid-range areas, which is between darkness and light, will be darker. So curves gives you more flexibility, because many times you can drop your blacks, raise your highlights, and lower your midtones. Something that can be done in levels too, but curves gives you a bit more control. And so a lot of people who do photography, or who do graphic design, or who do anything pertaining to people or images or light, they understand that curves gives them more flexibility, and it creates more of a natural look, because you can go from highs on this side here and a nice roll off to the darker side of the image. So I think Snapseed, for something that's free and that can edit, I think, just about any image size, because the pictures I've been sending from the XT2 about 6,000, 24 megapixels, 6,000 by 4,000, and it doesn't have any problems with it. I haven't seen any lockups with the application, and I believe this is where things are heading, or where we currently are. Anything that's any camera that's not doing that, or any camera company that doesn't want to do that, they'll have to really reconsider doing something like that, they've given the customer the ability to send files from their camera to the phone, so that they can either show their client, email their client, or share with their friends and peers. So this is Colin Cromwell here. We just covered briefly here Snapseed and the Fuji XT2, and the ability to work mobily. What I did mention is that the Fuji XT2 has an option where the camera becomes a hotspot. So essentially the camera gives off a Wi-Fi signal. You connect to the Wi-Fi signal, Once you connect that Wi-Fi signal, you're able to now open the Fuji app and grab the pictures from the camera, but you have to send each picture one by one. In the once you go to the receive mode, I think there's some other options, but I need to explore. I'm gonna probably have to follow this up with another video on mobile editing, but basically that's it. Once you get those files into the phone, now you can go ahead and use Snapseed. So I hope this video was helpful. If you've liked it, make sure you give it a thumbs up and leave some comments below. So guys, until next time, peace.